Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We're excited to have Rob Cook from k-eCommerce with us, and he's going to be presenting on digital transformation strategies for e-commerce businesses. And as a reminder, we are recording this webinar, and it will be posted to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And if you do have any questions along the way, please feel free to type them into the questions box, and we will answer them at the end of our session during our Q&A time. So now I'm going to pass it on over to Rob to kick off our presentation.
Thank you, Angie, and thank you for everyone joining us today. And today we're really going to be focusing on digital transformation online. What's been happening over the last pretty much calendar year is that people have been forced into streamlining their online presence due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're really going to focus on if it's the time to get the most out of your back-end accounting system, being NAV or D365 Business Central, to increase your online traffic, your online sales, but also to efficiently be able to process those orders back office. Now, in today's presentation, we will be bouncing back and forth between Patrick and myself. I'll introduce myself. My name is Rob Cook. I am the Senior Business Development Manager here at k-eCommerce, and we are a product of MDF Commerce, which I'll talk about here on the next slide. But essentially, my background was I was a Microsoft Dynamics user for about 10 years, focusing on e-commerce sales and sales orders and invoices going through Dynamics. And now, for the last 10 years, I have become one of the top e-commerce experts in the Microsoft Dynamics channel. Patrick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Patrick. I am one of the solution consultants at k-eCommerce. So it's really my role to understand our prospective customers' technical requirements and really marry them with our solution to make sure that it's a good fit, not only for today, but also in the long term as well. So moving forward into the future.
So we are a part of a larger organization. k-eCommerce is a product of MDF Commerce, Mary David Frank Commerce, and we are a publicly traded company. We have many different products in the omni-channel experience, but essentially what we do is help enable the flow of commerce. We have around 650, closer to 700 e-commerce companies that we work with. We have 725 team members here, and we are responsible for $15 billion in annual online sales. Now, the product we're speaking specifically about today is k-eCommerce. k-eCommerce has been around in the Microsoft Dynamics channel for over 20 years. We started with GP Nav and AX, and also branched out into the new cloud products, Business Central and Finance. In total, we run about 1,500 different websites for those 650 to 700 different businesses, and those websites are responsible for over $2 billion in sales annually, focused at predominantly business-to-business customers with some business-to-consumer customers as needed.
So we're going to start things off by talking about the top impacts that businesses have really faced in more or less the year, so 2020 moving into 2021. And the first one starts with cost management. So as you can see by some of the statistics on the page here, 94% of companies have taken some steps to contain the costs, which are partly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, pairing that with the second statistic on the screen, which is that 44% of companies have seen no budget impacted on the e-commerce and IT departments. So what I'm trying to illustrate here primarily is that companies have taken steps to cut costs, but yet they're maintaining those costs regarding e-commerce and IT because they see that this is the channel that will bring them revenue here in the times that have really completely changed in the past year. Now, second, with this, we have seen an incredible increase in online sales for companies who already have an e-commerce channel set up. So 7% of companies have reported either growth or stability in their online sales in the past year. And of that 69%, 56% of those companies noted not just a small growth, but a rather large increase. So from what previously was 1% year-over-year growth, going all the way up to 20% since this all started just about a year ago. So we can see that the toll that online sales have been taking is significantly higher than what it was just a year prior through these statistics. And finally, more fundamentally, there has been a huge change in the buying habits of your customers. Now, consumers today are turning to companies that they know and trust, that also offer a comprehensive online catalog that they can sift through and search for, as well as in many cases, so in the B2B space, customer-specific pricing, if that's something that applies. They're also turning to companies that are utilizing industry standard web platforms that are offering simplicity, obviously ease of use, and of course, probably most importantly, security, especially when it comes to payments. Because 40% of shoppers in the grocery market specifically have made their first online grocery purchase in the month of March 2020, which just goes to show this incredible change that everyone's facing. So what does all this mean about your business? Through this change in perspective, it's revealed certain things about your business. For example, operational weaknesses. So the pandemic has also highlighted incredible operational weaknesses, or really put that to the forefront because of many different reasons, because we're undergoing potentially more stress in our day-to-day. A total of 38% of companies have noted problems when it comes to shipping and replenishment of inventory or restocking. Now, 25% of companies also felt that the pandemic had clearly identified a cash management problem in accounts receivable and accounts payable. Now, these are things that wouldn't necessarily have been uncovered if it wasn't for the huge shift that we are currently undergoing.
So now, with the pandemic, you've also seen that the vast majority, or at least a portion of the work, is shifting remotely. So your customer service reps, your sales reps, accounts receivable, payable, a lot of these people, they're working from home these days. So having a platform that not only allows your customers to transact, but also your internal staff to support and transact on behalf of the customers has been very, very important for a lot of businesses in the last 12 months. It allows them the flexibility to be able to allow those people that really are not customer facing to be able to work from home and utilize a piece of software to be able to do their day-to-day business. And that's what we offer at k-eCommerce. We are not seat licensed. Anywhere in the world with an internet connection, we can take an employee of the company, put them in a solution. They'll be able to check statuses of orders, pricing, availability, place an order on behalf of clients, support clients that are online, placing items in the shopping cart, and they might have questions about, shipping or lead time or something like that. And all that can be done with a simple username and password login that can be dictated towards a specific customer or customer group, so we can make sure that the appropriate internal staff is supporting the specific customer or group of customers that might be contacting in. So this is used predominantly for customer service people, outside sales reps, and those type of employees that are helping customers on a day-to-day basis. Now, the importance of e-commerce, really what's happened is that there's been a lot of decreased brick and mortar visits since 2020, and that's really hurt the B2C market, but also it's hurt the B2B market. Outside sales reps not being able to visit customers, or customers not being able to capture orders quick enough because transportation companies are so backloaded with providing products to wholesalers or distributors. So it's really accelerated the digital transformation for a lot of businesses out there. And what they've been doing is leaning on digital transformation and implementing online sales initiatives to help them sustain through the pandemic, but also help them grow going forward, because a portion of this will stick, a portion of this will become the new norm. So having the system that not only allows the customers to make it easier for them to do business with you, but also allowing yourself to be able to easily, capture that order, get it into Nav or Business Central, and then pick, pack, ship, transfer from order to invoice, without having to do that all manually, without having to manage multiple sets of data to do that, and without having to automatic or not having to manually input data back into the system in the form of a sales order. So when we're preparing for the future, we're looking at an e-commerce solution that will affect the whole organization. And that's very important, because yes, you can go out and you can get a Shopify or a BigCommerce or a WooCommerce platform. And those are great platforms, don't get me wrong, but they're predominantly B2C platforms. And really the struggle with Microsoft Dynamics customers is that when going with a solution like that, you then have to add another company to bring in additional functionality. Things like integrations, tax integrations, shipping integrations, as I said, integrations in general, integrations to Business Central or Nav. And what happens at the end of the day is that you find yourself stuck in a solution where you're piecemealing a solution together from, on average, 4 to 6 different companies. And that proposes 2 issues. First one is cost. Every single company that is attached to the e-commerce platform will cost you more money, either on an annual basis or a monthly basis, or sometimes percentage of sales. And then the other consequence is also upgradability. If you want to move from one version of the Shopify or BigCommerce platform to the next, you have to make sure that it is going to work with all of these other companies. And then the third problem that brings into play at that point is support. If something breaks or there's a problem, there is a potential for finger pointing in that type of a situation where, well, that's not our problem, we didn't cause it. That might be caused by, this other plugin that you have. At k-eCommerce, we do things a little bit differently. We built this from the ground up, and we manage every single thing down to the hosting, meaning that you have one true partner rather than multiple vendors. And that helps, that affects change throughout the entire organization. From the CEO level, they want to make sure that they're investing in a platform that's going to affect change throughout their entire organization, and it's going to be a long-term solution for the problem. On the IT manager side, they want to make sure that the technology, first and foremost, is secure. It is working with all of their internal systems, meaning that it is modern code base in the Microsoft world. And they want to make sure that the hosting facility is secure and has the appropriate disaster recovery. Marketing, they're really the key player in the design, the user interface, or the UI UX. It is their responsibility to draw in the customer, provide them with a ecosystem online that allows them to make it easy for them to do business with your business, your customers, easy to do business with you. And really the marketing key performance indicators are leads. So capturing leads, let it be a net new B2B lead that we need to convert into a new customer, or a business to consumer lead where we are utilizing our search engine optimization, we're utilizing our company information, so more static content, and then we are utilizing our product information to be able to have customers put things into the cart, check out, pay. Now, once the marketing team gets them in, the sales team, their struggles are sales, right? We are taking those leads that marketing's bringing in. We are then allowing them true and accurate information pertaining to them. So certain customers might get different pricing. Certain customers might only be able to order from specific warehouses. And we are providing them tools to be able to quickly order. So ordering off of old orders, ordering off of a frequently ordered products list, which is generated directly out of Business Central or NAV. Also ordering off of a part number quantity order entry system. Usually that last one is more based around customers that are doing very high volumes, but it is very important, especially if they're emailing orders into sales reps back office. Now, once marketing brings them in, once the sales captures the sale, finance and accounting, we need to get paid. And when it comes to getting paid, we need to be able to provide options to customers based on who they are. Most B2C customers, they're paying by credit card or PayPal. Whereas business-to-business customers, you can still have them pay by credit card and PayPal, but you can also open up on-account billing based on who the customer is. So really the e-commerce solution helps all of these teams capture an order, put the order in, have it get paid, and then that order is sitting inside of Business Central or NAV to follow the same process as all of your others do. And then once that order is transferred from an order to an invoice and the tracking information is added to that invoice inside of Business Central or NAV, at that point, automation goes back out to the website, showing the status of the order change, adding the tracking information, and sending an email out to the client with all of that information.
Whoops. So now we're going to get a little bit into the details on one of those core aspects that Rob mentioned, the integration to the ERP, whether that's NAV or D365 Business Central. And it starts by maintaining a single source of data. So D365 or NAV is really designed to contain all of that core product information for your business to operate. So there's no need to have to duplicate that information just to get an e-commerce website up and running. Typically, you'll have to add all the information that you see running on the video into Business Central, and then you're gonna have to go onto the web platform and then re-add all of that data, make sure your pricing is correct, make sure all of those details are up to date. Well, with a fully integrated e-commerce platform into Business Central or NAV, that work is all taken advantage of already. You will not have to redo that piece, effectively reducing significantly the amount of efforts that are required by the potentially sales and marketing team or whoever is managing the site to keep that data up and running. Now, in the same way that we're talking about product information and making sure that it's accurate and allowing your customers to purchase online by seeing all of that rich data, the images that you have set up, it's also important to keep up-to-date inventory and pricing. Let's say a price changes. Well, you want to make sure that that price is reflected immediately on the e-commerce platform so that you don't have any potential discrepancies, and then you'll potentially have to call the customer back and deal with whatever the situation is. So making sure that that's always up to date, and likewise inventory goes without saying. We have to make sure that it's in stock if we plan on selling it, or if we're accepting back orders, make sure that the right process is in place for that. Now, I can't begin to tell you the number of customers that we speak to on a regular basis that are looking to move away from those e-commerce platforms that require, as Rob mentioned, multiple vendors to put together, or a platform that's open source. And the pain points are always the same. It's just become too difficult to manage all of this data in separate systems. So for that reason, taking advantage of that source of data that you're setting up to run your business is going to be crucial here for setting up an e-commerce channel that's effective and gives you significant returns on the investment. Now, in the same light, aside from sales, product information, and so on, it's important to turn this into not just an ordering tool, but really a self-service tool. We're going to see how we can reduce the number of phone calls that you may be receiving that customer service gets on a daily basis, figuring out typical details about their order, whether that's status updates, whether it's shipped or not, whether it's that they want to change an address in their account or anything in between. Taking that customer data, those orders that they're placing, those invoices that they see, and showing it to them through the e-commerce platform, through an integration is going to be crucial here. They'll be able to access their past orders, their past invoices, read through them as much as they want. They don't have to get on the phone and call in to understand, their account history or any details that they have to reference for their own files. It's all there for them. They can do it 24/7. They can see all of the data. And when those sales orders that you've fulfilled have been invoiced and shipped out, those status details, that tracking number will be visible to them as well. So they can log in and see what that tracking number is and see exactly when their package is going to be delivered. And finally, I sort of hinted at it but didn't mention it, the importance of creating those sales orders directly in the ERP. And this is probably the place you're going to see the most or the largest return on investment. Taking that online order from the website and creating it directly within Nav or Business Central without having to touch it once. It's going to be error-free. All pricing is going to be correct and up to date. And from your internal team's perspective, all you have to do is take those orders and fulfill them the same way you would any other order. It's business as usual, except now we're getting many more orders into our system. We're getting many more sales. And finally here, where not only do we allow customers to place orders online and consult their previous transactions or their order history, but now we can even let those returning customers or those on-account customers pay their open invoices online. So your customers who are maybe on net 30 or net 45 will now have a full account statement where they can view the total amount due, as you see on the screen. They can view those invoices, select them, and pay them as required, whether it's partial or fully, as I'm doing in the video. And then from there, they can go about paying those invoices, and everything relates back to Nav or Business Central when it comes to accounting purposes. So we're taking those phone calls or those tasks that typically you'd have to deal with manually in order for reconciliation or in order to capture payments, and we're giving it once again to the customer. We're enticing them to pay on time or earlier with this easy to use tool. And all of the accounting is pretty much already done for us.
Now, the growth of
moving
e-commerce
forward here,
has...
I talked about the shift in sort of mentality. Oh, Rob?
Go ahead, Patrick.
I'll take this slide, Rob. Sorry about that. I seem to be getting a bit of a lag. So the B2C versus the B2B dilemma. Essentially what this means is that more and more customers, especially due to the pandemic, due to the fact that they've been more or less forced to order or buy products in various ways instead of showing up at a brick and mortar location, customers have become used to this. There's a certain habit that has formed in terms of how they prefer to shop online. Whether they're buying for themselves at home, on the day-to-day, viewing those products, adding them to the cart and checking out. Well, now those same individuals are buying for their businesses, and they have these habits forming, so they appreciate buying in that same fashion online for their businesses. And so it's important to offer a solution or a platform that has all of that business to business capability, those customer specific prices being displayed, that sales order history and data, those payment terms, while still having a functionality or user experience that is familiar in a B2C or business to consumer like experience. So this includes things like an attractive design, quick and easy navigation tools with menu bars and search tools, content that educates them about your products, whether that's videos, PDF files, you name it, and different ordering options to match their preferences to make it easy and efficient for them to place orders online. Because as we see here, users who have a negative experience, for example, here in a mobile store, so on their phone, are 62% less likely to buy from you in the future. And that holds for B2C, but now more and more the generation that is doing the purchasing is becoming very accustomed to using their smartphones and to buying things through their phone. So it applies also to the business to business customers. And finally here, before I pass it back to Rob, when it comes to self-service for your customers, it's incredibly important to have a fast and easy tool that they can take advantage of. Customer satisfaction means that they'll come more frequently to your website and your sales will be boosted, but also you'll have a greater return on investment because an e-commerce platform like the k-eCommerce one means that you'll be more back office. Your operations will be significantly reduced. I mentioned already the customer service, or the fact that they can see their order history in full detail as they please. So talking about really self-service that alleviates those phone calls coming in. And finally, and potentially most importantly, the ability to reduce the labor involved in tending to those customers and letting them do it all themselves so that we can focus on things that grow our business. And now back to Rob.
So I mentioned earlier that you can enable your sales folks remotely to be able to help your customers online, let it be taking orders on behalf of them or even supporting them while they're online. So when your reps are outside and we need them to be able to gain access, let it be they're working at a trade show floor and an outside sales rep, or if they are able to support those clients, they'll be able to help them remotely. Next slide, please. So now we're coming to the end of the solution here. I can be contacted at my phone number and my email below. But Angie, do you want to open it up for any questions that came through on the webinar?
Thank you, Rob and Patrick. We do not have any questions that came through so far, but if anyone does have any, please feel free to get those into the questions box and we can get them answered for you.
Okay. And while everyone's typing, what I'll do is go through a few more of them, FAQs, frequently asked questions about our solution. The first one is always, if I was to go ahead today, how long would this take to get up and running? And the answer to that is, on average, it's around 3 months. I've seen customers and my team do it quicker. I've seen them take a little longer. The things that dictate that is number of products, number of customer records, and how clean the data is coming out of your nav or Business Central solution. Another question that commonly comes up is around the look and feel. And what the question is around the content management system, or CMS. And that is the way that you have the ability to really maintain the look and feel of your website. that CMS is built into the k-eCommerce solution. You have the ability to create, you have the ability to change, and you can do all of that without paying k-eCommerce to do it, and without paying a third-party marketing team. You can do it yourself. Now, if you don't have that ability, you can pay a third-party marketing team, or you can pay k-eCommerce to do it. But with that said, you do have the tool to be able to create. You don't have to go out there and rely on that type of person on a day-to-day basis. And then finally, the third question is always, how much does this cost? And with k-eCommerce, what we do is we give every single one of our features and functionalities to our customers. And the only difference between our customers is how successful they are online. The more you're successful, the more you'll pay. But we have only 3 packages. Our silver packages are for customers that are transacting up to $500,000 a year in online sales. Our gold package are for customers that are doing between $500,000 and $5 million. And our platinum is $5 million plus. And those range anywhere from $5 to $15,000 annually. So with that said, it's a very cost-effective solution when you look at it and you compare it apples to apples with like that Magento or Shopify or BigCommerce or WooCommerce situation I talked about earlier. It really gives you that single point of contact and that true partner rather than multiple vendors. So with that said, I will open it back up to Angie. Were there any other questions that came in?
Yes. Rob, how do you process payments?
So there's essentially a couple different ways you can process payments. You can process the payment at the time of ordering, or you can process the payment at the time of invoice with the portal that Patrick showed. If you're processing it at the time of ordering, at that point, what you would do is you would have an option to do a pre and a post authorization, which most customers that are shipping a good will do, or you can do a direct sale, which most customers that are shipping something that is either 100% same day or a service organization who sells services. You can process through any of the 13 different gateways that we support, or we do have some merchant processing that we can offer as well. So you can have a single point of contact and maintenance for every single thing online related.
Okay, great. Thank you. And another question that came through is, do you support other marketplaces?
Yes, we do. We support integrations to Amazon, integrations to eBay, and a couple some other smaller integrations to some other marketplaces. With Amazon, we support both FBA, so fulfilled by Amazon, and fulfilled by merchant. So yes, we do support other marketplaces, and we call that our marketplace utility.
Okay, great. Thank you. If anybody has any further questions that you would like to have addressed, please feel free to contact Rob, or you can contact your account manager here at Inovia Consulting. And I just want to thank Rob and Patrick for presenting today.
You are welcome. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time out, and I also would like to thank the Inovia team for sponsoring this webinar. And I'll leave you with this. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. When it comes to e-commerce, it is always changing, and it is an ever-changing industry. And as everyone has seen, it's changed a lot in the last 12 months. So if you are looking to do something, you are looking to make it easier for your clients to do business with you online, let's have a discussion. Let's see if we can help. And if we can, we will significantly be able to save you time and money in the future. And once again, from Patrick and I, thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day.
All right, thank you everyone. And if you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking time out to join us. And we do have more webinars coming up. Tomorrow we have VersaPay presenting on Make It Easy for Customers to Know What They Owe. And on Thursday, we have Equisys presenting on Achieve More in Your Day with Zetadocs for Business Central. So check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's inovia.com/events. And Enovia has a podcast, if you have not heard. It's called the Enovia Conversation. And we want to encourage you to listen to the selection that our hosts, Steve Waltz and Jeff Pergolski, have provided to us. You can find out about all the different podcast platforms to listen to on our podcast page, as well as the many different podcasts that they've done. And that's enovia.com/podcast. So check out the selection and subscribe so you'll be notified when those new episodes air. And we have started a new round of training workshops for you and your team members to attend. So visit our training workshop page, and that's enovia.com/workshops for more information and to register for the training workshop that fits your role. All right, well, we thank you all again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you soon on another Enovia webinar. Take care, everyone.